Okay, I'm sorry that I had to move my own talk to this really final slot of the day, but there was no way for me to present yesterday. Okay, so I will try to go through my slides pretty quickly. Basically, the background information for the talk will be property concept words. They are coming on to be either unmarked or marked by reflex of PAN or PNP, MA, or GA in Austronesian languages. However, data from Northern Luzon languages show that property concept words can also be marked by NA, as in Ilocano and some Northern Cordillera languages, and also in Meso-Cordillera languages. And there's a special marker, U, or actually pronounced as O most of the time in Bukalok, also in the Meso-Cordillera group, and we also have a marker R in some Northern Luzon languages. And sometimes different affixes can be combined with the same base, but you get different meaning. So in the case of Ilocano, we have Sakit, the same base. This is the most common word you will find in many Austronesian languages. When you add ma, the meaning is sick, and then when you add na, the meaning is sore or aching. So the objective of my study originally was to re-examine property concept words in all 5 branches of Northern Luzon languages and try to address 3 questions. So the first one is whether we can have different affixes used to form property concept words just in a single language. The second one is the use of different affixes semantically conditioned, so like things like shape, human propensity, size, dimension, and so on, mentioned in Dixon's work. And then the third one is, can the use of different affixes be the result of different historical reasons, whether some of them they are a result of direct inheritance and others are the result of borrowing. But I won't be able to address all of them because I don't have the result. So this is a beautiful Luzon map, and we have basically 5 branches in Northern Luzon, and I want to show you in particular this light blue area is the Ilocano area, so you can tell that all the languages here, they probably have some kind of contact with different areas of Ilocano speaking group. And in this map, these are we call the Northern Cordilleran or the Cagayan Valley group, and the middle part, they are more or less the Meso-Cordilleran group, and there's a language called Artaipong as a group by itself, and the purplish group, they are primarily the Northeastern Luzon group. So basically, the 5 groups I mentioned will be Ilocano, Arta, Cagayan Valley, or Northern Cordilleran, but Northern Cordilleran is a very confusing term from the history. In the past, sometimes it includes Ilocano, sometimes also include this group we call Northeastern Luzon. Okay, so I would use primarily the term Cagayan Valley. And then the biggest group is the Meso-Cordilleran group. It's also the most interesting group among all of them. So the data sources originally was these, but today I will focus mainly on data from Reed's 1971 Philippine Minor Language book. And Ilocano data will be from Rubino, but I actually finished typing the later parts of the data, but I won't talk about it. So in ACD, the discussion of some of the stative prefix, and last reconstructed this capital S plus R as a stative prefix, and the data from Taiwan, the only one we have is Huyuma R, and he gave only one example that's related to the word far, and he gave data from Central Philippine people and Cebuano, and they have this ha. And another entry, he gave a little bit more comprehensive data for ha, that's adjectival prefix, for adjectives or measures. That's the way he classes, so you can see all of different forms. And basically, he didn't write any glottal stuff at the beginning of words, so I will assume that at least the fitting data we should have glottal stuff in there. And he mentioned the distributional distinction between ma and ha is unclear, although both occur in different distinct languages as active or fossilized affixes on stems, such as the word for far. And semantically, the former appears to have been exclusively stative adjectival, but the later may have had a passive adjectival sense. I don't think this is really true, at least based on Northern Luzon data. So we will look at first data from Ilocano. It's a very important language, and it also shows a lot of interesting things. So basically, in Philippine languages, many of the words, they start from being a noun, and then you add affix, they will turn into other category. I will not tell you what category all the noun form belong to, all the property words belong to, because I believe some of them they are nouns, some of them they are verbs, depends on the environment. But basically, all the forms you have here, they can be marked by na, and na is the most common form to indicate some kind of property in Ilocano. And for words that have like trees, gold, all these words, when you add na, it becomes something like have a lot of whatever property. And this is another group of words that commonly have this na, and you can see they are all very common property words that are used in different languages. And there's this this is probably related to plus capital SA in PAN and ha in PMP. So some Ilocano adjectives, that's a Rubino's term, denoting an intrinsic quantity begin with a fossilized prefix. And this might be true. In general, when we see this in different languages, they tend to be fossilized. You don't really see them being used in forming new property words. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Bye-bye. Can I just talk? Oh, okay. So these are the words that commonly being referred to as something have intrinsic properties, so like short, shallow, deep, broad, and narrow and long. And then there are these property words that have just simple roots, and they can be used to talk about physical attributes or defects. So like all these, the new, small, old, all these are really common words in Philippine languages, although not all languages use the bare form. And these are some more. This is what you call the physical or mental attributes group. And this one, all I want to show you is these property words, basically, in some context, they function just like a noun, and they appear in position that nouns will appear. So like this word have exactly the same distribution as the word for stone. I think most of you can recognize this as a stone. And I don't think we really need a separate adjective category. It's just either a noun or a verb, depending on the position that it occurs. So first I will talk about this ma versus na distinction in some Northern Luzon languages. So Tupaningan Akta is one of the northeastern Luzon language, and the most common adjectival prefix in this language is ma, and these are the data you can see for the ma prefix being used in this type of words. And quite often the base that ma attached to by itself doesn't have any meaning, but this is a group that they will have independent meaning. So Robinson mentioned that in Tupaningan, they have this prefix na instead of ma in some adjectival form, but then she mentioned this is less common, and it seems to be an influence of Ilocano, where na is the most common adjectival prefix, and ma only appear in a handful of roots. And one thing very interesting is she commented that a single adjective in Tupaningan may take either ma or na without changing meaning. That's different from how we discussed in Ilocano. And then she mentioned more about it. There are a few adjectives that seem to prefer the na, although you can analyze them as completed accidental verb, where the na is homophonous with the completed aspect of accidental prefix ma. So these are the examples that she gave for this particular usage. And here is where I want to start talking about data from different subgroup of Northern Luzon languages. I don't include anything for Arta because I don't have time to include it. But anyway, I put Ilocano there to make a comparison. So when we want to talk about fat, not the noun fat, okay, not the animal fat, talking about some kind of state in these four languages. They are the Cagayan Valley languages. You can see this is the reflex of ma from PAN. But then the other two languages, they will have na. And in northeastern Luzon, Akta, and this form is also the reflex of ma. And most of the languages have reflex of ma as the base for this fat, but then internet is na, and Balanga has a and the most unique thing that you find in the data set here is this man. This man in northern Kankanai and some other Mesocordilleran languages, it actually came from the irregular reflex of MA capital R. So regular reflex of capital R in this group is supposed to be an L, but they share this irregular innovation, and you will see something like man, sometimes and in, and you will create some kind of confusion between different affixes. But this is a very unique affix used in this particular form. And in the language Bukalot, or commonly known as Ilocano, there is this U prefix, and this is a very common prefix for stative verb in this group. And now we look at other words. So if we compare the word for bed, you will see now any of the languages, they just use the bare form to form this meaning. Some of them has this noun form, and if you compare languages that have the noun form, they share some kind of similarities with the Ilocano form, although it's not exactly the same. And the word for big, this is another one. This one is primarily bare form, and then we have these three. They have some kind of affix, and again you can see Bukano has this U prefix. And Inimaloi tend to use this prefix when they form property words. And for Peter, you can see the most interesting data here. So Ma is the least common one used in this group, and many languages they have this Na, and I believe the Na in all these languages they are probably result of context. From which language I cannot be 100% sure. Maybe from Ilocano, maybe from their closely related languages. But the most interesting group is in this Mesocotterian languages. This irregular reflex of MA capital R is found in almost all the different languages from that particular group. And the word for black, basically see either bare form marking by Na, and some of the languages have a suffix form. This is the reflex of the an suffix, and you can also see it in Hakanayu. And this an is related to the MA capital R reflex that I mentioned earlier. And for blind, you can see it's either bare form or being marked by Na. And in Iniboloi, again, it has this less common prefix, the form. And this one is actually Na, but then the B is the result of declaration related to the vowel in the next syllable. And the word for cold, you can see we have a number of languages that have marking from Ma, reflex of Ma, and Na is only found in Ilocano, Itanak, and Ata, Isnak. And for the whole Ifugao dialects, they have I. But this is another interesting thing you find in the data. And for Mesocotterian languages, again, you see this irregular reflex of MA capital R. So you can see actually it's not that uniform, but you want to talk about property words in this group of languages. And the word for that is another very interesting thing. And if you look at the word for that, it's commonly being reconstructed as having this matai as the base form. But when you look at this Philippine data, you will see we have primarily Na, and the Natai form look very similar to Ilocano. So are they really something that are from Ilocano, or they all share the same change? I really don't think they really share the same change. And the word for death basically is either bare form or it's the Na form. Okay, I'm told I have only 1 minute left, and I'll just run through my conclusion stuff. It's basically, I already show you the most important things. Okay, so basically, we can conclude that property concept words in Northern Luzon, they can be marked by reflex of PN or PNP Ma, or reflex of capital SA or Ha. And the most important thing is you find irregular reflex of MA capital R mark the static form in Mesocotterian languages, and unique marking as the U form in Tagalog and the form in in Iloilo, they're found in the majority of the stative form. And now I believe in Ilocano, that's the primary form they use to form stative form. And maybe also in Gatang and Isna, because they also commonly have na. But then for the presence of na in other languages, I think that might be the result of influence from Ilocano or other Kagam Valley languages. And that's all I have. Thank you.